Welcome to Young Patriots.
Alex, we are going to take the results live. Let's take a listen.
194 against 354. The National Assembly has not approved. 194 for, 264 against. The Prime Minister must now tender his resignation to the President.
Well, there we have it. You are with BBC News live from Paris outside the French Parliament as France's Prime Minister has fallen in a vote of confidence. He has lost the confidence of the Parliament building behind me, with 194 MPs voting in favour of François Bayrou and 364 MPs voting against. So François Bayrou's government falls. He becomes the second Prime Minister ousted by Parliament in the space of 9 months, and the sixth Prime Minister lost to President Macron. He will now have to tender his resignation to France's President Emmanuel Macron. He is expected to do that tomorrow, and then this country faces yet more political paralysis. Can the President find a new Prime Minister to command the confidence of the Parliament building behind me? Does he dissolve Parliament, leading to snap elections? Or what other path is open to him? This country, the second largest power in the European Union, plunged back into political paralysis at the worst possible time, with wars raging on Europe's borders, with the Trump administration in the White House upending the transatlantic international order, and France now looking increasingly rudderless. So just a reminder, 194 MPs have voted against François Bayrou's government inside Parliament. 364 MPs have voted against it. So François Bayrou's government falls, ousted by a confidence vote. Let me bring in Alexandre Kouchner, a journalist and political analyst here in Paris, who has been with us unpacking this story. Alexandre, this was expected, wasn't it? But it is a very, very big defeat for François Bayrou.
Yeah, the defeat was expected. The numbers are surprising. It means that even from within the central coalition, probably from the Conservatives, Les Républicains, some MPs voted against François Bayrou. This means that within the presidential coalition, the so-called bloc commun, there are already clear cracks and clear divides, which sort of muddies the water even more. You know, who can you now trust? Because even from within this own coalition, he didn't have all the votes. Now, is this a surprise? No. Does it bring any solution? No. Now it's on to Emmanuel Macron to make a decision, name a prime minister, or call for snap elections. Then again, it doesn't solve the two main problems at this time. The one is the problem of Emmanuel Macron's doing, a hung parliament. The second is trying to put not an end, but maybe just a dent in the ever-ongoing debt crisis in France.
Breaking news, France is falling. For decades it lived off Africa's resources and power. But now, that empire is crumbling before our eyes. In just months, 14 African countries have kicked France out. Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali and Chad were the first to end military deals and chase out French troops. Then Ivory Coast and Senegal followed, closing French bases, sending soldiers home and cutting ties. Chad has ripped up its defence pact. Ivory Coast is removing 600 French soldiers, and Senegal will close its last French base before the end of 2025. This is more than troops leaving. It's France's lifeline snapping. For years, Paris depended on Africa for minerals, for military power, for survival. Without Africa, France is collapsing under its own weight, its economy sinking, its influence gone. What we are witnessing is history. Africa rising, France falling. The world will never be the same again.
France's government has collapsed after a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister, Michel Barnier. The move plunges the country into a political and financial crisis. It's the first time the French government has been brought down in such a vote since 1962. The left-wing bloc in the country's national executive and Marine Le Pen's hard-right national rally combined to oust Mr Barnier after he pushed through a budget without a vote. That budget is now null and void, and the weakened President Macron will have to try to find someone else to appoint. Well, in a moment we'll speak to our Europe editor Katya Adler about what this turmoil in Europe's second largest country means for the EU. But first, let's go live to Paris and to our correspondent there, Andrew Harding. Andrew.
Yes, good evening, Rita. The voting took place in the Parliament building behind me just a few hours ago this evening in Paris. But essentially, it all became inevitable earlier this summer when the French people voted a parliament that was completely deadlocked, unable to agree on anything, no interest in coalition or consensus. A coalition government of sorts, a very fragile one, was scraped together, but it looked very vulnerable from the start, and tonight was the moment that it fell. What happens next is unclear, but it looks like France is entering a period, perhaps for months, of deep political and perhaps financial instability. Moments before the voting began here in Paris tonight, Michel Barnier made a final, rather forlorn plea to French MPs. The Prime Minister urged them to back him, his government and his budget, or create chaos.
Mesdames et messieurs les députés, je ne me résous pas. I can't believe a majority of MPs here will vote to destabilize our institutions.
Anyway, as of today, the government of France has collapsed. They are in financial ruin for one thing, and people have demanded that President Macron will be impeached. So they're planning mass protest. So we're going to see in the next couple of days what's going to happen. The effect of this, what's going on in France, is going to affect all over Europe and maybe even Canada, because now think about the war in Ukraine. France was a big supporter, and with this, it might hinge more war in Ukraine. So please tell me what you think. Even though this is France, do you think that's something that was inevitable to happen? And you think that we in Canada are going to the same direction that France is going? Please comment.
Thank you for standing with us, for standing with the truth, and for standing with President Ibrahim Traoré. In these trying times, your voice is powerful. Don't just watch, be part of the movement. Subscribe to stay updated, share to awaken others, and head to the comment section. Tell us how you feel, what you believe, and what Africa means to you. Together we are louder, together we are stronger. This is Young Patriots TV, and you are the heartbeat of the mission. Thank you.